the Headless Headhunter, a corporate recruiter here to review your resumes to help get you ahead of the job market. So the very first resume we have is IT Help Desk. This one is actually might not be necessarily a resume, but a relocation issue, which I will go over. But Help Desk, we are looking for these skills. You do not need all of these. You need about like 75% of them, but education is important. That should go up top. Microsoft Office suites, typically specifically installing them, bug fixing, that kind of stuff. Office 365, troubleshooting, problem solving, that's the word, my mind blanked. Microsoft Windows, PC, Mac, networking, Microsoft Exchange, Microsoft Office, which I put twice, Microsoft servers, Active Directory, any type of cloud, video conferencing, and it'll. Basically, if something could break, you are the one that needs to be able to fix it, so they need to see that. So this person is looking for a new position, specifically because their work location is like 3 hours away, which is a nightmare. Oh my gosh, that is a nightmare. And you are moving to a place in about August, but you can't put your current address. So here is how you do that. So what you can do is you can put your first one, and what normally I say, summaries are not good. You don't want a summary. But if you are moving to a new location, here's what you do. You can put a little thing that says moving to right here. This person docks themselves so people can't see it, but it's essentially, I'm just trying to squeeze it so they don't. There we go. So right here where the citizenship and the location is, instead of the location, put the location you're going to be moving to and just state moving in and about a month and a half away. All right. So that's all you need to do is just put moving to X location at Y date, but can relocate earlier if needed. That way they know that you are willing to move, because open to relocation is not good enough. I don't want to be cruel here, but I have had a large amount of candidates say, yeah, I'm open to relocation. And then reload time comes and they do not go there. And you have wasted the manager's time and the recruiter gets in trouble. So they need to know that you are serious about relocating, and you show that by saying, hey, regardless of whether or not I get this job, I'm going to relocate to this area. So that is how you do it, instead of just saying willing to relocate, because really it's a nightmare of a process for relocation, even if the company is not paying for it. So before we begin, if anybody needs any extra help, feel free to join my Twitch chat. That's where I go over all this stuff live at twitch.tv/headlestheadhunter, and like, comment, and subscribe. I'm here to help out. So let's see if they have it here. Education, good. There's too big of a gap here and here, which is my fault. I need to fix my resume formatting, which is here. I know I have them here. This is my error, but there should only be a single space between here and here. Not huge though. IT desktop technician, family healthcare, September to current. That's fine. Troubleshooted software, hardware, and printer issues, such as Microsoft Excel, Word, X install. This is where you put a such as, and you can make this longer. Bullet points don't need to be one. Bullet points at a max should be 3 lines. Anywhere between 1 to 3 lines is good for a bullet point. So utilize VM recovery software is probably too specific for what they're looking for. The person recruiting for this may not know what VM is. I don't know what VM is. Recovery software, retrieve, manage, and restore files. Retrieve, manage, and restore files is solid. Let's see. Also, their ratio is 100 to 1, so it takes them 100 applications to get 1 interview. Although this might be because they are applying out of state, less so than the resume. Creative managing Active Directory, good. Managed ticketing systems on high-low tickets, good. Implemented imaging software, imaging, I don't think that's needed. Created displays installer package, too specific. Worked with vendors to troubleshoot software issues, very good. Answered desk calls and provided friendly customer service. I want to know how you provided customer service, but otherwise that's okay. DHCP for IP config, maybe, and created documentation in Microsoft Word. So this is a mid resume, not counting the relocation, not counting the formatting. Bullet points alone makes this mid. It's not bad. I think this is why, I think if it wasn't for relocating, you'd probably get 1 in 75, maybe 1 in 60, but we want to take it up a next notch. So the biggest issue is you need to sort of combine these keywords. You want more than 1 keyword per bullet point, ideally. So as an example, you want to say like troubleshooted. Is it troubleshooted? Troubleshot software, hardware, and printer issues such as installation of Microsoft Office, Mac, networking, blah, 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 blah. created blank using Active Directory and Y, managed ticketing systems, and responded promptly to fix low and high priority tasks, and then maybe like gotten praised by your manager for multitasking. But also everything, even if you are currently there, needs to be in the past tense. Everything needs to be past tense, even if you're currently working there. My old recruiting boss taught me that, and for some reason it works. It just flows better. So, to summarize, this is a very mid resume, which again isn't the worst, but it's a competitive market. So, we need to combine these things together. We need to have more keywords in these sentences. That way you don't have like 18 bullet points. They can be long bullet points. We don't want like all of this. And we want to focus a little bit more on what they're actually looking for, which is like troubleshooting, installing, and problem solving. But it's not bad. I don't want people to think, it's garbage, recruiter hate resume. No, this would probably get you, like I said, if it wasn't specifically for the out-of-state thing, get you like 1 in 60. But we really want you to get like a 1 in 25, 1 in 35 ratio. Because it does look like you have experience. And yeah, so let's go to the next resume. This is a full stack software engineer, maybe in the US. The keywords are different between the US and the EU, so I'm going to base this on if this is a US based full stack developer. This resume I am expecting to be very bad. This person has a 150 ratio, which is 150 plus applications to a single interview, which is not good. IT market's bad, but it shouldn't be that bad. So what we're going to be looking for if the US is TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node, Angular, Next.js, MongoDB, SQL, React.js, API, REST, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functionally. Bonus points are architecture, extra language, and Git. All of those. So, yeah, that's a lot. If it was in the EU, you would replace the Python with... do I have it right here? With Java and 1 or 2 of those libraries, I think. So I think Spring, but anyway, yeah. So again, if needed, people can ask in the comments. I can post these. I'm fine posting the keywords in the comments that I have. So let's see if this person has it. All right. So it also is possible that, maybe their contact information is wrong. So this formatting is not great. It's not the worst, but it's not great. Again, I want you to write it like this. It's just slightly different, which, you know what? I think it might just be this. But yeah, something seems a little off of this, but it's not too much. So that's fine. Education, college, got it. So spearheaded both the front end and back end developments of X's marketplace using Next.js, REST, TypeScript, Node, HTML, Tailwind. Yeah, you don't actually need to say Tailwind. I know it's weird. You can just usually say CSS. These are the keywords I want, but spearheaded is a little weird. Just say led. Led the full stack development of X's using XYY, blah, blah. Then optimized backend performance using Node and SQL, reducing API, implemented server rendering, GraphQL, SEOs, I don't care about. SEOs is really more important in front end. Yes, I'm aware full stack is front end and back end, but the job descriptions are different. Enhanced with React testing, library.js, don't care about most of these, but I do like React. CI/CD is nice, and Git, again. API. So there's a lot of extraneous stuff here. There's a lot of stuff I don't really care about. You have a lot of the keywords. You have Node, yeah, you have Next.js, but I am missing like MongoDB. I'm missing Cloud, which are pretty huge. I do need Cloud. Cloud is pretty big, but it's not terrible. So GitHub Workflow CC product. Okay. So there's a couple of reasons that I think this is getting 150. The formatting is okay now. It's just the X's were throwing me for a loop. That's fine. They won't be there on the real one. So there are a couple of things that are not related to your resume about why you're not getting a job. The one is how fast you apply. So ATSs, there is a common misconception about what ATSs do. ATSs reject you. ATSs do blank. ATSs screen for keywords, and they don't. The vast majority, we're talking like 99% of the ATSs, function on one simple thing: first come, first serve. That's basically it. So if you are if you are applying to a role and you are, say, full stack engineer, and you apply and you are applicant number 170, realistically your resume may not get seen because they have enough people to interview and they find them in the first 75. probably not going to find them in the first 75. But so the faster you apply is the better, which is also why I'm really harping on these keywords, is because it leads into that. Is once you have the keywords correct, which you have a good amount, but we need a little bit more, and there's a lot of extraneous stuff here. But once you have the keywords, you can then mass apply to jobs with those titles that use those keywords so that you are going to be first in line, because the faster you apply, the better your chances. The next question you are going to ask is, Lee, what should I not apply to jobs that were in the last 24 hours? And the answer to that is it depends. It's not related to how many hours have passed. It matters of how many other people have applied. Some jobs get 3 candidates in 2 weeks. You're fine to apply at week 3. Other jobs fill up within the first hour, specifically like remote software engineer roles. If it is a remote software engineer role, you realistically might have to get there in the first hour or 2 of its posting. So there is a way on LinkedIn. If you go to the, I'm trying to visualize it here, top right corner, it says all filters, click all filters, and then do most recent. It will show you jobs that were most recently put in. So is this resume bad? I don't think so. I don't think it's great. Again, it's kind of mid, but I would assume the biggest problem is probably when they are applying, because that can be huge, especially for software engineers. So make sure you apply fast and quick. This is why remaking your resume actually leads to a decrease in interviews and not increase. It's because by the time you finish and you hit submit, they've already found their person. So specifically in hot markets, again, if it's like nursing and accountants, they can wait like a week or 2 and they'll be fine. But software engineers, sometimes y'all have to hit it in the first hour and a half. Otherwise, it's already filled up. So, and also there is an additional negative modifiers. If you are on a visa or you need visa status, it's going to take you about 3 times as long to get a job, because quite frankly, most companies are not going to sponsor. So you need to apply to 3 times as many. So it's a mid resume in a tough market. This probably would have gotten a lot of interviews in like 2019-ish, give or take. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a project manager / coordinator. It's possible that project coordinator would have some slightly different keywords. So specifically, this is project manager. What we're going to be looking for as a project manager is very specifically, this is arguably more important than the keywords itself, is how and why you did those keywords. So how you made things happen compared to how you did things. Specifically, what they're looking for is like how you interacted with the company, how you enacted change. Because as a project manager, even though you have reports, they're usually dotted line. So it's kind of like the Spider-Man saying of with great responsibility comes great power, or great power comes great responsibility. In this case, it's with no power comes great responsibility. So how did you do stuff when you didn't have any power? Your ratio is 75-1, which isn't bad. I wish I knew a little bit more, but I don't think that's bad. You also said open to relocation, which I think I covered in the first one of this video. So you can double check that one of what I said about open to relo. We need PMP or CSM. Those are huge bonuses. Customers, stakeholders, agile industry, team members, matrix, cross-functional, number of projects and budget, and how you used resources for success, how you solved problems. So let's look there. Strategic, educational. Wow, I do not need all this. Okay, so if you are pivoting from K-12 education to specifically project management, which is something I've seen a lot, which good for you, is you don't want this giant summary. So first off, your formatting is not great. This is what you want in formatting. It's basic. It's good. The reason it's good is because it's easier to find the keywords, because we only have 15 seconds. And I challenge you to find half of these into 15 seconds in this resume. So the summary should literally just be moving into project management from X. That's all we need. That's actually what the summary is. Also, the education should be up top, if that is the case. So, let's see. Okay, so here's a real thing that is huge. That looks very minor. I want everybody at home to notice this. Excuse me, because this right here is why a lot of people don't get jobs. This right here. is the dates. So there is a key thing that they did wrong here, which is any time besides education doesn't matter with this one, anytime you put a date in your resume under work experience, projects, or internships, it needs the month. You need the month and the year, because you could have been at this role for from January of 2022 to December of 23, which is a large amount of time. That's like, you got like a lot of time. That's almost 2 years. Or alternatively, you could have started this in November and left in April, right? Which is like 5 months or less. And we don't know. So you always need the month and the year. You don't need the individual day. The individual day is too much. The exception again is education. I don't care when you started. I only care that you finish. So you can leave education as just the year, but everything else, this needs to be the date. And that's a huge thing that a lot of people miss. So what we're also going to be looking for is the rest of this. Let's see if they have it. Served as lead mentor and coach to over 50 educators, guiding effective instructional practices, facilitating peer interviews and growth plans. This is not bad. I like the fact that you're mentor and coach to other 50 educators, because it immediately sets up what you did and how. Directed cross-functional instructional teams, nice. Aligning goals and implementing strategic frameworks to improve dynamic delivery, staff collaboration. This is too flowery, but I do like the first half. The second part is a little too flowers. Remember, recruiters don't like flowers. We actually do. Please send us flowers. Flowers are very pretty, but not in the resume. We don't want flowery language. We want basic and boring. Basic and boring gets jobs. It should read like a government form. So rated over 40 K-12 campuses, good. 100 plus services, including services with intensive support, instructional coaching, data analysis support under the module. I like. So this is not bad, which is probably why you're getting 1 in 75. The issue is I still need a little bit. I feel like this could be 1 sentence or maybe 2 sentences. I feel like there's a lot here for what is kind of retreading it. So like, I feel like you could combine these. At least this one in particular with the first one. So, and there's too, like I said, there's too much flowery language, so you could shrink this down and maybe add something. So facilitate training to build capacity. Okay, so here's the part where I need stuff for. How did you facilitate the training? Project managers and managers in particular really need to drill down on the details of how and why you did X. We need to know the how. The how is arguably more important than the why for managers, because your job is not to do the thing. It's to get others to do the thing, and here's how you got them to do the thing. So, again, this is okay. Instructional monitoring practice, implementation modifications, accommodation for diverse learners. This is not bad, but I could, like, this one is mid, but this one is okay. Prior to strategic level highlights, instructional outcomes, district leaders and stakeholders. This is good. This should be higher up. This should be like your second or third sentence. But this one's fantastic. Collaborated with school district to develop and monitor plans for improvement. Okay, so yeah, overall, I can see why you're getting 1 in 75. This is a C- resume, essentially. Actually, it's a little bit worse. Is you have a couple of formatting issues, although this is a huge one. But primarily, there's so much stuff here, and it's not all that I need. You have like one bullet that I don't care about, and then a phenomenal one, and then one that's mid, and then a bad one, and then a great one. So there's definitely stuff to salvage in this. We need to shrink it down a little bit. The number of bullets, not necessarily the lines of each bullet. Remove the flowery language. Add a couple of these that you're missing. And for the love of all that is holy, please put the stakeholder one up top closer. That's a real good bullet point. You've got some real winners here. You're just kind of burying them in trash. So yeah, overall, I can see why you're getting stuff. I think with those changes, you could probably get like 1 in 40, which is really much better than 1 in 50 or 1 in 75. So overall, like, I guess, I don't even know if I really want to give this a D-. I would say this is between a C- or a D+. It either barely succeeds or barely fails, and you just need to remove some stuff and fix the formatting and add a little bit more of here, although you've got most of them, and I think you're going to start rocking those interviews a lot more. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of HR operations / generalist. So this person was in talent acquisition at staffing firms, so they were a third-party staffing contractor. I'm going to guess, and they want to switch to corporate HR or either in operations or generalist, which they actually kind of have mostly the same keywords, but their CV isn't clicking and they want to get it reviewed. Help me. I will be glad to help you. So a couple of things to note. Despite the fact that recruitment and talent acquisition is under the HR umbrella, largely our duties are very, very different. I feel like we shouldn't even call recruiters HR anymore, and HR themselves would agree with this. So we really do want to sort of focus on the following, which is A, we want to make sure you have your education. A lot of them ask for it. HR in general, the industry. So again, this is going to determine on like if you're going into finance, medical, IT, etc. But then we're going to focus on employment law, payroll policies, procedures, administration, Microsoft Office suites, Excel, Word, whatever, that kind of stuff. And then HRIS, not ATS, which admittedly Workday, a lot of them are combination HRISs and ATSs, which is a problem because if you have a combination HRIS and ATS, it's usually not as great as an ATS. So that stands for Human Resource Information System, Workday, Dayforce, ADP. There's like 1,000 of them. We want to know that you've done them. So, and then these keywords, which I don't know, maybe those are specifically HR. And then we can also add like talent acquisition, but that's actually a minor part of what they're going to be looking for. They're really going to be looking for this stuff right here, more so than like recruitment. Now, there are some specific recruitment internal roles, but there are not a lot of them. So really, if you want to apply to those internal roles, you kind of want a recruitment focused resume and a HR resume because they are largely different skills. They're almost not related anymore. Now, you will say their ratio is 100-1, which normally I'd be like, that's awful. It's actually not as bad as people think. Right now, recruitment and HR by proxy is probably one of the worst job markets you could get. Recruiters and HR are usually the canaries in the coal mine. If you see a lot of people in HR or recruitment getting laid off en masse from a multitude of companies in your industry, you should panic. The job market for us is arguably worse. It's that awful. It's absolutely horrendous. So realistically, if you're able to get a 1 in 75, which I know you have a 1 in 100, I would consider that a C-. It's real brutal for us. I just don't say it because I know people don't have sympathy for us. So, all right, now saying all that stuff, let's get to the actual resume. So first off, education should be at the top. Yes, I'm aware you've probably graduated a while ago. This should just be 2 lines. That's all. Just says when you graduated. I don't know if you actually need the master's, but I want to know what gold medalist you were, because that's awesome. That's just a side note. Let me know what medal you won that was gold. I was at a judo tournament like over the weekend when this was recorded, volunteering. So that stuff is kind of cool to me. So manage recruitment and operations. That part is good. Partner with senior stakeholders. Good. Source 60 plus target dollars LinkedIn training. Here's the problem. This is sort of why it's focusing on the talent acquisition part is, again, if you noticed, the TA part should be down here because the talent acquisition part is not mostly what they do in HR. Mostly what they do is this other stuff. Now, employment law using an ATS/HRIS is similar, but so here it is, implemented scorecards, aligning and advanced feedback. Again, maintain 100% data accuracy in Zoho and ATS. Here is where we don't want to use ATS. We just want to use HRIS because remember, they're probably not going to use ATS as much as they're going to use an HRIS unless it specifically says HR recruitment. If it's HR recruitment, then you have that. So this is where you need to split your resume into 2. Let's see. So generate weak reports, pipelines, bottlenecks. Again, this is great for talent acquisition. Collaborative concentration, operation, timely documentation, compliance, serve as a single point of contact communication, resolving independent queries. So this is okay. But again, I need this stuff, right? I need the industry you worked in. Because again, it really does matter what you're doing. So hopefully you've done more, which maybe you've done other ATSs and not ATS. I'm so used to ATS. Done other HRISs because ATSs and HRIS are not the same. They're just usually bundled together, but not always. So we do have Microsoft Office, which is good. So I have that. Problem is I don't have a lot of stuff about employment law, payroll policies, procedures, administration. And as a recruiter, you do know some employment law. You have to, because there are legal questions that you don't want to do. You do not want to get your company sued by the EEOC, which is who does those questions about gender and all that stuff. So yeah, I am missing a little bit about your industry. I'm missing more about the recruitment side. Not that you shouldn't have it, just you should focus on these. So this is a very solid talent acquisition one. But I want you to split into two. All right, we want HR and we want talent acquisition. This is specifically, I'm doing this for HR. For talent acquisition, this is okay. But I would actually imagine that you'd still need industry, and my gut is telling me that you don't have anything involving sourcing, and I'd like a little bit more of the hiring manager if we're doing specifically TA stuff. So HR, TA, very different. Split your resume in two. Once you do that, then come back and we can review it, because this is really split down the middle a little bit, although it leans more towards talent acquisition than HR. So hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that made sense to people that were not in HR and TAs or recruiters or whatever. We have like 1,000 names. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume review of This Is All They Wrote. They wrote summer internship / junior part-time roles as software developer or researcher for companies like Amazon, Google, Meta, or Facebook. So I will be perfectly frank with you. I am not a FANG recruiter. Those companies have their own internal processes. I can tell you how to get with everybody else. I don't know internally what the internal process of Amazon is like. It's probably very different from the rest of the companies. I've recruited for Fortune 500 companies before, multiple, but you know, FANG is a little bit different. There is a recruiter who does YouTube videos called Amy Miller. She is a Amazon recruiter herself. I think it's recruiting in yoga pants. She's really cool. So if you want to know specifically an Amazon recruiter's point of view, I would go to her channel. But I can tell you how to get with the rest of it. So you also, I'm assuming we just want to do internships. So I'm just going to put this into a generalized internship right here. That's what we're looking at. And you sent me a lot of stuff, but essentially you've applied to 30 job postings in your whole life. You've been on like 7 interviews for companies like, let's see, Google and stuff, but you don't understand why you're being hired by a good company like Google, but keep getting rejected in automated screening by Amazon. The rejection email got sent on Sunday, so that's why I assume it's a bot. It's not a bot. Sometimes we can set the ATS to reject people a couple of days later. It's so that if we see a resume that's really horrible and it doesn't work at all, and they just applied 2 seconds ago, we don't immediately fill them with dread by rejecting them after a second. That can be a setting. So there is like a 2-day delay on some rejections and some ATSs you can add. You don't have to, but there was one that was like you can reject them immediately in 2 days or like 5 days. So that's probably the case, is that they actually were late Friday, you applied, or they found it late Friday, and then it was later. You want to know about the resume? I mean, it flies in the face of everything I've been teaching, but I've always said there are more than one ways to do things. Also, I'm not a FANG recruiter. Maybe this works with FANG. I don't know. I'm not a FANG recruiter. They have different processes. Their processes are entirely different. I've worked for a lot of other companies, but not that. As for the jobs, I'm applying, opening anything. So yeah. So Google did get you, which is good. Geez Louise. I will say, I mean, it's good that Google got you. There's so much here. This is really hard for me to pick. Merits. Oh, here we go. This might be why. This is probably why right here. Polish. Okay, so that also means, are you applying in the United States? Because if this is Google in Poland, that's a little bit different. I mean, maybe you're not. I don't know. Because you know, this is very different. So yeah, nothing about this resume is how I would normally do it, but I don't know, maybe this works for FANG? I don't know every market. I can't. I know what works for the vast majority of people. I wish I could tell you that my one single method by this recruiter will get you a job. Just do this one thing. But it's never a case of one thing. It's 1,000 different things all together. It's location, it's years of experience, it's the time of the year. Yes, that does matter. More jobs will give out offers and interviews in January and February than they will in the rest of the year. In November, December is usually a dead zone. It could be your individual location within your location, so not just state or country, but like city. It could be how much experience you have. There's so many things it could be. So my advice will never be the one single thing that you need to do to get a job. Despite my clickbait titles, it is the one-size-fits-most solution. And I don't know, man, maybe this works for them. But let's see. Maybe the bullet points are actually good. Sign an offer letter, be joining the questions team. My internship develop a system to convert natural language queries. That's solid. Position R&D as part of 18. I'm responsible for root code. This is actually pretty solid. Like, your bullet points are good. Their formatting, I think, is awful and it's not helping you. And you teach high school students this. Yeah, these are phenomenal bullet points. This is what I'm gonna say. This is awful formatting, but phenomenal bullet points. And I will say, and I will say it again, I'd rather your formatting be bad than your bullet points being bad. Teaching kids usually means you can take criticism. Teaching adults, not so much, and work well together. So teaching kids is especially good. High school students, so that's really good. Hour of code, primary school, yeah. So here's kind of why. You kind of did get the keywords, which are going to be a basic knowledge of the tech stack, which I see. You have the ability to work well with others, and a little bit less on take direction and criticism, but you are a teacher for high school and other kids. That is a huge plus, because it shows that you can take criticism. It shows that you can deal with little kids whose snot's running down their nose and be like, teacher, what is potatoes? And you're like, okay, so this is what it is. So your bullet points are actually good. I think your formatting is awful. And these are really good merits. These are related to software engineers too. So I think you just need to fix the format. Competitive user computer science program, top 30 students. Yeah, I mean, you're also in the top 30. Employed at Nokia, but in constrained areas, a weekend or two to high school students. Summer work for Google. Yeah, like, again, I think the big thing is your formatting is bad, but like, you're probably experiencing the failure of success. And by that, I mean, your application ratio is not normal. What you've done is not the average. The average intern would get a 1 in 75. You have like a 1 in 10, 1 in 15. And I don't think it's your formatting. I think it's your bullet points, which are fantastic. So yes, what do I think about it? Bad formatting, but phenomenal bullet points. And I will take better bullet points over bad formatting any day of the week. And even though this is bad formatting, it's not the worst I've seen. It's still legible. It's still clear. So it kind of works. So I think if you do make it a little more boring, but you keep the information, you just structure it well, you might even have even better success. Although this Google software engineer thing is going to lead you to massive success on its own. So to summarize, you have great bullet points. You have great experience. It's phenomenal. I don't hate this as much as you think. The formatting is bad, but again, it's like a C- bad. It still passes. I can still read it. Yeah, I just wish there were a little bit more here. This was in that, and you can save space and make it better. So I don't think it's your formatting that's helping you. I think it's actually holding you back, but your actual amount of volume on here is fine. You have good experience. You've taught kids. You've won tournaments. This stuff, not as much, but regardless, this stuff is here. I think it needs to be formatted better, but even if you don't format it, it's still going to be great. And you are kind of like in the 1% of people that are getting this stuff. You are not average for the market. So I think that might be the case. So yeah, I think your bullet points are phenomenal. I do. I feel like people were expecting me to hate this and see this abomination, but no, it's not good formatting, but it's definitely not the worst. I mean, I could still read it, which is the most important part. It's not easy to read, but it's easier to read than a lot of bad ones. My big issue is the bolding here and here. Should be in actual bullet points itself. But overall, yeah. So I think you're obviously going to have a great career ahead of you. But I don't hate your resume as much as you think I do. I don't think it's that bad. I think you just need to keep all of the data in here. All the data is good. You just need to reformat it a little bit. So that is it for this video. If you need more help, you can, submit your resume below. I'm a recruiter. I'm here to help. Yes, I'm not a FANG recruiter, but I have hired for a lot of other roles and other IT roles. I want to make sure that you get ahead of the job market. So catch me streaming if you need it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. And I will see you in the next video.